Okay, well, I guess we'll get started, and I'd like to call this special board meeting to order and thank everybody for being here on a beautiful Santee Cooper day. We're excited to have everyone, and I guess the first thing we'd like to do is to have a roll call.
Here. Here.
Director Laird.
Here.
Director Mudge.
Here.
Director Nell. Director Singleton.
Here.
Director Wynn.
Here.
Chairman Ray.
Thank you, Babs. Okay, well, I'd like to call on Jim Brogdon to lead us in an invocation and a pledge of allegiance.
Let us pray. Most gracious and loving God, we come before you today, acknowledging that this is your day and the day that you have made. We know that it is you who has made us and not we ourselves. May we remember that as we conduct the business of this meeting and those that will be held in days and months ahead. Lord, we thank you for the many blessings of life, especially this day. We thank you for the women and men who serve and have served Santee Cooper, who have dedicated their lives to fulfilling the mission that is Santee Cooper's. We ask that you keep them safe. We ask that you bless their families. Lord, they have labored long and hard over the last 2 years and have done yeoman's work, and for that we are very grateful, and we know that your hand has been at work in that. Thank you for this board. Thank you for their dedication to Santee Cooper. Lord, we are excited and thank you for having brought Mark and Charlie to Santee Cooper. We are excited about the next phase of Santee Cooper and the leadership that they will bring. We ask that you bless them and guide them in their efforts over the coming months. We pray all these things in your name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before Jim sits down, and obviously this is a day of great change for Santee Cooper, and I just wanted to take the opportunity to recognize Jim. When I first came on the board in 2014, Jim was leaving as general counsel after having served for 10 years as Santee Cooper's general counsel. And after we made the decision to suspend construction, the board needed to fill that void in leadership with someone who could help guide us and move us forward and help with our relationship with the legislator and our employees. And so Jim was kind enough to step into that fray and has not only served the board and Santee Cooper well over the last year and a half. Has it been a year and a half?
I think that's correct, yes.
But also, you know, has provided a lot of leadership and guidance to the employees and to the company. And it's been a difficult position to fill, and honestly, it's not been a fun time having to go up to the legislature probably almost on a daily basis and not only answer questions, but take a few tongue lashings here and there on behalf of the company. And obviously Jim didn't need to do that, but he has a lot of not only loyalty to the company, but I think it's fair to say that Jim loves Santee Cooper and appreciates the people of Santee Cooper, and really we appreciate you stepping in and providing leadership. And on behalf of the board, but also personally, I want to thank you for not only your leadership but your friendship, and we'll look forward to doing this in a formal way in the future. But thank you, Jim, on behalf of the board and the company.
Thank you very much, Dave.
Okay. One of the most important jobs that the board of Santee Cooper has is to hire the chief executive office role. And we've been through a process over the last several months in that effort. And at this time, I'm going to turn it over to the chairman of the HR committee, Director Singleton, to walk us through the process that we've been through. And with that, Chairman Singleton.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Several months ago, this body engaged the services of Korn Ferry. And Korn Ferry is a top-notch search firm with whom Santee Cooper has a long history, and we have a deep understanding of each other. They were engaged to conduct a nationwide CEO search. That search yielded 15 candidates. I think, Sandra, you're going to put a slide up. I'll continue, and you can reference the slide as you see fit. That said, that search yielded 15 candidates, 9 of whom had deep CEO or management expertise in the utility industry on the public as well as private side. At this point, I'd like to express my special appreciation to Directors Ray, Finn, Mudge, and Clark, who participated in a series of telephone and in-person interviews with all of the candidates that were found to be qualified. Over a series of interviews, concluding with an introduction to the entire board last month, it became abundantly clear to our group that one candidate stands head and shoulders above the rest, and that candidate is Mark Bonsall. Mark garnered over 40 years of experience in one of Arizona's largest public power utilities, the Salt River Project. During the course of his tenure, he garnered expertise in including finance, financial analysis, information systems and planning, cash management, and resource planning, all of which culminating in his service as CEO of the Salt River Project from 2011 to 2018. Considering Mark's extensive expertise and qualifications, the due diligence provided by Korn Ferry, as well as the board members that participated in the process, as the Human Resources Committee Chairman, I am proud to recommend Mark Bonsall to the board to serve as our next Chief Executive Officer. Having walked through that process, I will recognize our General Counsel, Mike Baxley, who will give us a description of the appropriate resolutions.
Thank you, Chairman Singleton. Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who are joining us by live stream, I'm Mike Baxley. I serve as General Counsel here at Santee Cooper. I want to discuss with the board the resolution which is before you. It consists of 2 pages, and as Chairman Ray pointed out a few moments ago, it begins by recognizing Jim Brogdon, who has served honorably since October 6th of 2017. It then points out, as Director Singleton mentioned, that the board has undertaken a rigorous search for a permanent CEO, which began back in April, that the board has discussed this issue in at least 3 sessions during board meetings. As you've just heard, Mark B. Bonsall of Salt River Project rose to the forefront of that search. The resolution also points out that he has a 40-year history and experience with public power, and specifically with Salt River Project in Arizona. And several of those years, in fact, at the end of his career at Salt River Project, he was the CEO of that sister entity to Santee Cooper. He has taken national and held national positions in the public power arena, including chairman of the large Public Power Council, of which Santee Cooper is a member, and a member of the board of directors of the American Public Power Association. The resolution also points out that pursuant to not only the state code, which is Title 58 that sets out the powers of the authority, but Article 5 of the board bylaws for corporate bylaws for Santee Cooper, the board has the duty to choose a CEO, The resolution then appoints Mark Bonsall to serve as CEO for Santee Cooper, and that appointment is effective today, and authorizes the chairman to execute whatever documents are necessary, and specifically a contract of appointment to accomplish that purpose. Now, are there any questions, ladies and gentlemen, concerning the resolution? All right, then hearing none, let's move further into the discussion. As I mentioned to you, the resolution authorizes Chairman Ray to sign any necessary documents to commence Mr. Bonsall's service. One of those is a employment agreement, a contract agreement. We'll discuss that briefly. You have in your board books a report from external legal counsel who has reviewed, helped draft, and approved the document and recommends it, that it is legally sound. The resolution notes that the contract is for a period of 18 months with a 6-month extension, which is at the exclusive option of Santee Cooper. It sets forth the duties of the new CEO, which is standard in these types of contracts. It also sets forth any termination rights that both sides may have and how those may be exercised. It sets out salary and benefits as well. I want to mention to you that Willis Towers Watson, which is a well-established executive compensation and benefits consultant that has a long history with Santee Cooper, has participated in reaching the terms of this contract. The annual salary, which is in the contract of employment for Mr. Bonsall, is $1.1 million base pay, with an additional pay-at-risk component of $250,000 if the CEO, Mark Bonsall, meets certain performance metrics that will be established by the board. The salary is consistent with Mr. Bonsall's previous salary at SRP and market conditions that have been determined by Willis Towers Watson. Chairman Ray, you have further information concerning the salary information, and I defer to you at this time.
Okay. We have a slide that really lays out the compensation. Can't present that right at the moment, but what I'll do is read through it so that everybody has the benefit of that. Look, we understand that obviously this is a higher compensation level than we've had in the past, and we believe that it's appropriate, and we believe it's appropriate because obviously, as Mike Baxley pointed out, Mark Bonsall has not only 41 years of experience with large public power utilities at Salt River Project, but one that's bigger than Santee Cooper. It has approximately 5,000 employees and generates over 8,000 megawatts of power. Mark has been a senior executive at Salt River Project for over 30 years, 7 of which was as the CEO and 27 of which was as an associate general manager at Salt River Project. The board felt it was important to bring in someone who was seasoned, that had experience not only in running a large utility, but experience in resource planning and transforming an organization like Santee Cooper. So not only his leadership and industry experience, but his business environment experience. And based on that, and based on consultation with Willis Towers Watson, we reviewed a peer group of investor-owned utility CEOs and large public power utility CEOs and determined that compensation was approximately in the 52nd percentile of the peer group. So based on that, I felt comfortable, and I think it's fair to say that the board felt comfortable entering into negotiations with Mr. Bonsall.
Harold W. has left the conference.
A couple more things to point out. As Mr. Baxley mentioned, the annual base pay is $1.1 million. The incentive compensation is $250,000. The automobile allowance is $1,045. The wellness physical benefit is $1,200 annually. The relocation expense is up to $40,000, and then you see the annual paid leave benefits as well. Just wanted to make sure everybody had the full benefit of understanding the complete compensation package for Mr. Bonsall. And with that, I will ask if there are any questions of the board. Having none, at this time, I'd ask that I call for a motion to approve the resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Okay. And so the motion passes. And one thing I'd like to add is, even though Chairman Finn is not, Director Finn is not on the phone for the call today, I did have a conversation with him, and he did submit an email in writing that he supported this nomination as well, and Bill Finn was active in the meetings and the interviews with Mr. Bonsall as well. So appreciate his support on that. At this time, I would like to call Mark up to the front along with Judge Baxley, and we'll actually take the oath of office.
I would ask Ms. Starks if you would come and hold the Bible for us, please. Please place your left hand on the Bible and raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Mark Britton Bonsall,
I, Mark Britton Bonsall,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I am duly qualified,
that I am duly qualified,
according to the Constitution of this state,
according to the Constitution of this state,
to exercise the duties
to exercise the duties
of the office of President and CEO
of the office of President and CEO
of the South Carolina Public Service Authority,
of the South Carolina Public Service Authority,
to which I have been appointed,
to which I have been appointed,
and that I will,
and that I will,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
discharge the duties thereof,
discharge the duties thereof,
and preserve, protect,
protect,
and defend
and defend
the Constitution and laws
the Constitution and laws
of this state
of this state
and of the United States.
and of the United States.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate
Thank you.
it. Thank you so much.
Well, just as a summary, congratulations, Mark. We're excited to have you with us, and I know you're anxious to get to work. Three short words of guidance that I'd like to pass along from the board, and that is to focus on the mission of Santee Cooper, respect the history and people of South Carolina and of Santee Cooper, and own the problems and own the solutions. So welcome aboard.
Thank you. I do want to say thank you. I want to thank Mr. Brogdon, who's a very wonderful friend of mine, and thank you, the board, for this terrific opportunity. I do respect, and I personally know of Santee Cooper's 85-year history, much of which I've been involved with Santee Cooper over the last 35 years as a representative of SRP and industry issues. I respect it. I appreciate its history of excellence in water and its cost, posture, and reliability and safety, service, and in economic development for the state of South Carolina. At the same time, I fully understand and express my appreciation for your desire for reform and for, at this stage in the history of Santee Cooper, for renewal of the institution. And I very much appreciate that opportunity. I know that Charlie and I look forward, Chairman Ray, to working with you and the very dedicated team at Santee Cooper. Good people. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, Mark's very first official act will be to recommend to the board the employment of Charlie Duckworth. Charlie will be, is being nominated as the Deputy CEO and Chief Strategy Officer. So at this time, I'll ask Director Singleton to present the, or Mike, are you presenting that? I apologize. Well, I'm going to ask General Counsel Mike Baxley to present the resolution.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, and members of the board, you have before you a one-page resolution which appoints a new office for the Public Service Authority, which is the office entitled Deputy CEO and Chief of Planning, and then recommends Charles B. Duckworth for that position. The resolution also points out that Mr. Duckworth himself has a 40-year plus experience, has over 40 years in experience in public power, has worked for the Salt River Project as well in tandem with Mr. Bonsall. He has worked not only on the energy side of the House, but also in water service and resource planning, which of course is pivotal to Santee Cooper as well. The board has determined that, the resolution reflects that the board has determined that it will appoint Mr. Duckworth as Deputy CEO and Chief of Planning. It further states in the memorandum, which was just referred to by Chairman Ray, that this position, the duties of this position will be to provide leadership to the authority's future resource and strategic planning work. Will also engage in resource negotiations, risk management, and the Department of Administration's process pursuant to the recently enacted H. 4287. The resolution resolves that the Board of Directors, effective this date, appoints Charles B. Duckworth to this position and authorizes the chairman of the board to sign any documents necessary with respect to that appointment. I'll be glad to answer any questions that you may have at this time about the resolution, ladies and gentlemen. Then that concludes my presentation, and return the matter to the board, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mike. Do I have a motion to approve the resolution?
Motion.
Motion. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Congratulations, Charlie. Welcome aboard as well. Any comments, any questions from the board?
I'd like to comment. I appreciate particularly the work that you and Dr. Singleton have done to coordinate all of this. I don't think people really realize how much work and effort this process took. So personally, I want to thank you both, and I know Bill did a lot of work as well. So thank you.
In a short amount of time.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you saying that. Obviously, it's been a big team effort and a lot of effort on each of you's part, and I appreciate your support. And I do want to make sure that Mark and Charlie both know that we're extremely glad to have you both, and we're excited about the way forward. We believe that the opportunity is great, and we're excited to have you in your leadership, and we'll look forward to working together with you, and welcome to South Carolina as well.
Thank you. Appreciate that very much.
Any other business? I will call the meeting adjourned. Thank you very much.